Welcome to Blade HQ, everybody. Today is October 27th, 2025, and we have a ton of new knives on the table to talk about. Today's episode is sponsored by Walker's Razors. So these are a company owned by GSM, which is one of our favorite conglomerates here at Blade HQ. They own Cold Steel and SOG and a couple other knife companies. We love them because what they do is they make sure that all of their stuff is managed well and produced in quantity enough and at prices that allow us to all get the knives that we want, especially from established brands like Walker's here. And another part of that is they do fancy special editions like this Desert Warrior version we did. So this one's fun. If you're a shooter, these are great. These, you put them on and then they have the active noise canceling sort of thing. I guess it's not quite active noise canceling, but it doesn't let the really loud sounds through like gunshots, but it lets voices through. So if you can't afford a suppressor, your gun isn't threaded, or even if you have a suppressor for a big one, this one will just keep it nice and quiet for you, but still allow you to visit with the buddies, which is why you went to the range in the first place. Anyway, also, I should tell you all about Continue Mission. Continue Mission is a local nonprofit that helps provide recreational therapy for wounded veterans and their families. We love Continue Mission, and we're happy to support them every year. We have a great big giveaway going on right now. You just enter with $10 raffle tickets to the raffle of your choice on the Continue Mission page at bladehq.com. And when all is said and done, on November 15th, I believe, we are doing a big drawing for all of those. So please be generous, help out Continue Mission, and get yourself some cool knives in the process. Now, without further ado, let's talk some new knives, starting with the triumphant return of one of our favorite brands, Three Rivers Manufacturing, or TRM. This is the Atom model, and I would say this is the most iconic of the TRM knives. Just an absolute tank of an EDC knife. And by tank, I mean in terms of performance. It's definitely not a huge knife. Look how thin this blade is. But the truth is when you do your EDC cuts, you're like cutting up an apple at lunchtime. You're opening boxes, you're slicing open mail, that kind of thing. And this super thin blade is an absolute boon for that. Nothing slices quite like it. And another thing I really appreciate is this micarta handle. The micarta starts out on the back as a very canvasy, and then as you get towards the front, a knurling texture kind of appears. I don't know if we can catch that in the camera, but it really just gives you good purchase up by the front of the blade, but a nice supple handle on the back. And if you don't like that, there's a bunch of aftermarket scales, or I should say replacement scales, that you can get in addition. We'll talk about here in a minute. Another thing is we have the Neutron, which is basically the mini Atom. So the Atom is big, the Neutron is slightly less big. Get it? Because neutrons are smaller than atoms, or part of atoms, you know how it goes. Anyway, this one's got the G10. These have 20 CV blades, so very premium. These are USA made, and their pricing is pretty good too. The Atom goes for $265, and you can get some more fancy versions of the titanium scales. Those do go up in pricing quite a bit. Yep, and then the last TRM knife we have on the table today is this little guy. This one is called the Holier Nerd, which I think is just such a fun name for a knife. And this one just gives you a little knife to hold on to, but it gives you a lot of cutting power. Same nice thin blade. This one's a MagnaCut blade as well. And this one has the blue G10 on the handle scales. A very cool knife indeed. Now, TRM is known as being a bit of a customization modification platform, and that's why, so like here we have some Atom scales that are black micarta. You can just pick these up at bladehq.com when you get whatever knife you like, and they come with extra hardware as well, so if you lose the screws, you don't have to be too worried about it, but it allows you to sort of make the knife however you like. We also have these ones for that holier nerd. These ones are these, like, I want to say they call it the Arctic Flow carbon fiber. It could be wrong, but definitely a fun premium take on the knife of your choice. Three Rivers Manufacturing is a really cool brand. They make a lot of really great stuff here in the United States, and we are absolutely thrilled to have them back here at Blade HQ. Next up from Hogue, we have the Micro Counterstrike. So you know the Counterstrike, it's probably their flagship OTF, very tactical. The Micro Counterstrike gives you much the same design language, but in a very small package. In fact, I wish I had a ruler. I want to say this might be a sub 2-inch blade, so don't quote me on this, but this might be California legal as well. This one has the Cocobolo wood handle scale. However, there's a carbon fiber one that sold out real quick this last week. It's just a really solid knife. This one goes for $339.95. An everyday carry OTF that's small, fidgety, and offers a lot of cutting power. We got a MagnaCut blade on this guy, so not bad at all. Then next up, we have from Tenibal Knives, which is a sub-brand of Cancept, the Fenreer. So you're not having deja vu. The Fenreer has been out for a little while, but this Fenreer is special. This one is the top liner lock version. We've seen the button lock and we've seen the liner lock, and I believe that there's a frame lock version that you can get from Concept. But this one has the top liner lock. So you see this button, what it does is it actuates this little liner back here. So a liner lock, do we have a liner lock on the table? We do, the TRM is liner lock. The conventional liner lock is this guy right here, where there's a little piece of steel that bends to get in the way of the blade. You just have to bend it back out of the way. A top liner lock, through a bit of physics that you can ask me about another day, provides you quite a bit more strength because of the direction in which it's pinching the steel. So you're getting a stronger blade, and also when you close it, you never have to put your fingers in the path of the blade, which is a really nice safety feature as well. And it gives you the same crisp detent open that you would expect from a liner lock. I'm really excited to see this on a Concept, and especially at its price. This guy's going for $64.89. $65 is getting you purple micarta, an absolutely dialed top liner lock, and a Nitro V blade on a design from a very respected custom knife maker. What a time to be into knives. This is a really cool blade, and I love it very much. Thank you, Tenibal, for making awesome stuff. Next up, from Benchmade, we have a new flavor of the Taggedout. Now this one's a bit fun because it looks like we have, I don't know, I don't think it's actually brass, maybe it is, a backspacer here that's definitely coated to look like brass if it isn't actually brass. And then we have a black G10, nicely polished handle scale, and this coppery finished blade of S45VN steel. So S45VN is of the same class as the S30Vs we know and love. However, it kind of threads the needle between S35VN and S30V. It gives you a little bit more toughness than S30V, a little bit more edge retention than S35VN, and provides a really nice all-around steel, especially for something as thin and slicey as this is. This is made to be a hunting knife. And I think for a hunting knife, that is a really great pick for a blade steel. And I love the G10. It gives you a nice weight in the hand, so it wants to stay in your hand when you open it. Gives you a lot of cutting power and a very classic look as well. That was for $300 at bladehq.com right now. Next up, from Demko, we have the Nano Shark. These are the AUS 10A versions. So Demko Knives is known for a lot of things, but what Andrew Demko made his name for is inventing really rugged, hard-using stuff. That could be his fixed blades, it could be the Triad lock that he invented at Cold Steel, and this is the Shark lock, which is one of his originals. And the way it works is there's this little shark fin, for lack of a better word, coming out the top, and you just pull that back, and the blade can swing shut. Got to pull it back all the way, though. And this one is the more budget-friendly version. These go for $99. You get a GRN, or a glass-reinforced nylon handle, the Shark lock, and an AUS 10A blade. And what I like is, even though this is a small knife, you still get 4 fingers on it. You can still use this thing nice and hard, which I really appreciate. Another cool thing here is we have a pocket clip that is reversible. So sometimes on the 80-20.5, which is the bigger version of this, it has a pocket clip, then it comes with a separate pocket clip for if you need to do left-handed carry. But this one, it's just the same pocket clip, a nice deep carry that'll go on either side. And it'll sit nice and low in your pocket and give you a lot of cutting performance when you need it. We got the gray and the black here, and in the 2 different blade shapes as well. We got the clip point and the shark foot. It's a great knife, and I'm excited to see it for less than $100 because Demko knives are really well made, and now they're a lot more attainable in price. Next up, we have a bunch of new arrivals from Heretic. These ones are Hydra OTFs, and I forget what the name of this cell shade Cerakote style is, but is that not just one of the better looking knives you've seen? The purple fade to orange or fade to green. I'm sure there's a theme that I'm totally missing on this one, but these are really good looking. And these are basically customs. So you see these cell shades, this is heavily stenciled, and sometimes it's even freehanded to get some of these lines on here. They give it that really iconic, almost comic book looking styling. Now that is something that brings a lot of price with it. So these ones go for $550 because in addition to being an absolutely rocket-powered OTF that is USA made of the highest quality materials, you're also getting some really cool cell shading involved. Really appreciate that from Heretic. They've been doing a really good job with all of their cell shading as of late, and I know a lot of you collectors out there have been really vibing. Speaking of cell shade, we also have a new exclusive of the Wraith. This is the automatic. We got the Tanto version, and this one also has that cell shading. And there's been a couple of different styles of cell shade they've done. We have this one, which kind of reminds me of a city skyline, but I think I like this style more, where it's got a bit more like intricate texturing that provides a bit more of a two-dimensional look to a three-dimensional object. I really like this thing. It makes me smile. We had the white one last week. We got the blue one this week. These ones are going for $370. An absolutely wonderful automatic knife for everyday carry or for tactical applications. Can you imagine if you were a police officer and you everyday carried this? That'd be the funniest thing ever. I'm just imagining I'm stuck in a car and the officer shows up to get me out of it and he pulls this thing out and I just start giggling while I'm gasping for breath. That'd be funny. Next up from Victorinox, we have the Synergy X. This is a new line of knives from Victorinox that sort of applies some of the feedback they've been getting for a lot of years. So we have the ALOX handle scales, meaning aluminum. These ones have the red anodized. They have a few different flavors as well. And other than that, it is very similar to many Swiss Army knives that you have found, except here we have a liner lock. So you just pull that and you can close your blade. So a locking blade, which is very nice because I probably am not the only one around here who's earned a scar or two from a non-locking knife. And the other big thing is this pocket clip on the back, a deep carry pocket clip. So that way you can carry your knife just in a pocket with a clip. I know the aftermarket clips are a pretty common thing around here. And in addition, you have a locking blade. So a bit more of a user-friendly, safer thing that Victorinox is clearly listening, which I really appreciate. Victorinox is a very big brand and they are on the other side of the world. But the American knife market loves them some pocket clips and locking blades. And I know that sometimes those are regulated in Europe, but they're not here, and here we have it. And I really appreciate that from Victorinox. Next up, we have a bunch of new arrivals from Protech. First of all, we've got a Godson with sort of this black washed blade of, I want to say that's 154 cm. Yep, 154 cm, which is the classic Protech steel. It's, believe it or not, this is the first time this variation of this knife has been done, which I find is quite funny. Is somehow, like, they're always trying something new with their knives, but then there's a fairly basic low-hanging fruit sort of thing that somehow they missed and never did. But now they've done it, and who knows what they'll be up to next. Also, we have a Mordax, and this one has this, like, bead blast stone-washed blade and this black aluminum handle scale. And it's a very clean knife, and it is one of the most buttery. I remember before we were doing this, Spencer, who's behind the camera, was picking up the knives and he was just playing with them a little bit, and he says, my goodness, that might be the best flipper I've ever felt, which is high praise, and he's probably right. This is a very good flipper. Next up, we also have a Runt. This is the Runt 5, and here we have the sapphire blue PVD coating and a black aluminum with a lovely mother of pearl button there. Just a nice, dressy, California legal automatic. A lot of stuff from Protech. Picked it up at Blade Show West, and a few other things are arriving. So make sure to check out that whole category. There's a link in the description for you. And lastly, we have some new arrivals from Poikilo. I want to say the I is silent, but I've been hearing a lot of people around the office saying Poikilo, but Poikilo is the brand here. And these are really, really good knives. So let's talk about this guy first. This one is the Armadillo. What I like here is this blade gives you an ever so subtle recurve. So it's not so much of a recurve that you can't sharpen on a stone, so it's gonna be nice and easy to take care of, but it's just enough to give you that look and to give you the extra slicing performance in the belly. And then a very nicely ergonomic handle. Ergonomic, is that a verb? Well, it is now, I made it one. It's nice, it's smooth and easy to operate, it's a great one. And the knife that actually won awards at Blade Show West in 2024 is this guy. This is the Orca, and the Orca normally has a DLC-coated plate, and then these little spots you see under were just raw titanium, and then it had a satin blade. However, a lot of people are saying, we love that knife, we love the look, but we want this whole thing sort of blacked out. So here we have full DLC, but they didn't skip. You still have the flush fit titanium in there. So if you see, maybe we'll see a little pocket here and up here at the pivot and everything. That is not lines cut into titanium. That is a piece of titanium milled perfectly to fit into another. And it is absolutely stunning. And I think that it's kind of fun that even though they went full black here, they didn't forget to flex on you with all of their amazing machining abilities. Poikilo makes really, really good knives. And they're a fairly new brand and have really been on the scene hard as of late. So check out some of these knives, and hopefully we'll see more from them in the future. Anyway, that is just a sampling of what you can get brand new at BladeHQ.com this week. So if you want to see more new knives, head over to BladeHQ.com and check out the new arrivals page. And don't forget to support Continue Mission, and we will see you next time. Except for